Hello ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's you, Boy 3Like, and welcome to Boss Rush Island 5. Today I'm going to be starting off with Sada on Strong and a tech bot because I'm way too lazy to click the ability 3 times or whatever. I mean, the ability is pretty useless by the end, so if you want to, you can just try to click it. We're then going to place down a free dart monkey and a free boomer at the right side of the track, and then a monkey ace on figure 8, which is a 1-0-0, and we're going to be quickly upgrading it to a 2-0-0 and 3-0-0 just as soon as we get the money. Money's kind of a little bit weird here at the start. It always is with Bloonarius ace, because we have just enough money to not afford things. You know, we're like $100 off, but hey, whatever. That's just kind of how this game works. This island is particularly annoying just because, you know, it's a short map, so the balloons are kind of a threat, and we have no way to make money, so we can't really get a dart paragon. I did the math, and even at the end, if I sold everything, I couldn't afford the paragon, which just sucks. But anyways, after Skull 4, we can finally afford the Operation Dartstorm, and we'll start going for a second ace. So yeah, here we get 80 score, which I guess is pretty good. I mean, it's something that a lot of people can do themselves, but it's still pretty hard, so I figured why not make a guide. We get our ace to a 3-1-0, and we sell our free dart monkey and get a glaive ricochet, which is a 3-0-2, and at the 10th skull, we should be able to get it to a 4-0-2. Getting it to a tier 4 is just way safer, and we'll be able to defend later, but technically tier 3 is the only thing that's fully needed, so if you want to take a risk, do that risk. But once we get the second Operation Dartstorm, I just make them both go on Wing Monkey so that we don't have to later, you know, don't want to forget about it. Now we're just going for a third one, right? Of course, they're all going to be 4-1-0s. If you want to be safe, or if you're missing a little bit of monkey knowledge, you can upgrade one of them and only one of them to a 4-2-0, which would of course make it able to see camo and handle all of your camo problems. But we're just going to place down these 5 guys, and we shouldn't really have a camo problem until we go for the 6th one, which we're going to be putting in a different location. So yeah, once you get 5 of these 4-1-0s down, we're going to be getting down another one down here, and we can just start off, make it on figure infinite, and get it to a 3-2-0, and eventually, of course, the 4-2-0. This guy, his main goal is to, of course, deal with camos, and to deal with a little bit of Moabs and just stuff that goes on the bottom track later, which it helps out with because it's actually already down there, and so the Moabs and missiles and stuff will hit it. Up next, we're going to go for a 2-3-0 and then a 2-4-0 Rocket Storm. This guy's, of course, going to become our MAD. This location is good. If you place it too far in the top right, it's going to be blocked during the ability, which is just really annoying, so try not to do that. I did set Sada to first a little while ago. It's not the most important thing, but it can help prevent deaths occasionally. Speaking of preventing deaths, we're just going to place down a couple more of these more glaives. Yeah, just 2 more of these more glaives before round 40 starts, and then we're going to be placing down a couple more before we get down the MAD, but I do that a little bit later, just, you know, because I'm kind of curious, kind of testing things out. I would recommend getting down 1 more glaives, because I kind of make a mistake and get pretty low on lives, but hey, there's some RNG that always happens as well with this many aces and all that stuff. But we're saving up till we get $41,500, or you could just get $42,000 if you want to be safe. You know, it's kind of up to you, but once I hit $41,500, I sell my planes, and I can just barely afford the MAD, whose ability I'm going to very quickly use, and now we're going to be spamming down more glaives. So, of course, if you're on mobile, depending on how fast you want to spam these, you know, you're going to have to be more or less safe. So, I just get up 3 on the left side, and I'd recommend you get 1 more than I got on the right side, because it looks dangerous here. There's all these Moabs, and then we have to target the MAD for these round 50 fortified Moabs, and it gets a little bit scary. I leak down pretty low, honestly, so I'd recommend 1 more boomerang, but, you know, this amount is relatively safe. Just getting 1 more would be much safer, and of course, then you can sell the boomerangs and get up the tier 5 Glaive Lord, and you'll never have a problem with dying again. This is what I would say if this wasn't Bloonarius we're talking about. Look, without being able to raise more money and buy paragons, Bloonarius is always going to be very sketchy. But anyways, we're just going to be getting down a figure 8 plane, who's going to become our Flying Fortress eventually. Of course, the Flying Fortress is able to help out a ton with damage, and the reason we have it on figure 8 is so that it can be here at the exit and be able to help out with all the defenses as well. we're going to get down a 300 sub in order to decamo things. If you like blinked, you might not see me buy it, but we'll be clicking on it again later to become an energizer, right? Because the energizer will be able to help out the mad, and also I think decamos faster, maybe? I'm not too sure. But it'll be able to help out the mad cooldown ability, which is important at the end. You know, just get out one more ability. Why not? There's no other real way to buff things, and I guess the only other tower you could get instead would be the Sky Shredder. But here I sell my Operation Dartstorm in order to get up the Flying Fortress a little bit faster, because I figured it's not too far away, you know. We'll see. On round 70, there's a DDT rush, and technically you might be able to defend it if you're kind of lucky, right? So just target your mad so that it will be able to see the DDTs later. You can see that both of the mad missiles are hitting the boss, but they are targeted towards the exit so that hopefully we could hit the DDT, but unfortunately we do not, and the DDT leaks, and you know, it's whatever. But you can afford a leak and still get to 80 skulls, so you know, that's why it's kind of fine. But yeah, we just get up the Flying Fortress, and then we go for a 402 as monkey sub so that we can decamo all these DDTs super fast, and we're saving up for the Energizer in order to just squeeze out a little bit more damage on our mad abilities. And I guess technically it's buffing Sada's ability cooldown, but I'm not sure if she's dealing any amount of significant damage, you know. She's not actually all that powerful. But yeah, we get up the Energizer around Skull 76. Again, not too sure if it really helped. You could get a Sky Shredder instead, but that's just kind of what I decided to do. But yeah, now we're just going for a Sky Shredder, as I said, but we're not actually going to be able to afford it. You know, there's some RNG in terms of money, so maybe you guys will be able to afford it. We'll see. You know, it's just kind of luck of the draw, whatever. But yeah, you know, as the boss exits, there's actually a lot more time than it looks like, but whenever you hit 80 skulls, it's impossible to survive. I've never seen someone get above 80. I'm 100% sure it's possible. It's just probably not worth doing. You know, too much RNG, too much blah blah blah. Be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and use code YOBOY. That's YOBOY if this guide helped you out. And I'll see you next time. Peace.